It's your girl Donnie Don Dio with another episode of What's on Your Mind. Today on Purging Thoughts, we have Istasia Pierre, and we're taking a look into her new book, I Am Not My Scars. So,
Hi, I'm Istasia Pierre. I am the author of I'm Not My Scars. Check out my book on Amazon.
All right. So, I'm happy, and I'm just happy that you're here.
I'm
right?
happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So usually, like I was telling you before we started, I'll have my notes and I have like everything ready to go. But something about this book, after reading it, I was like, there's really no way I could take notes. Like I just want to know everything, right?
Yeah.
So let's first start off with what inspired you to write this book.
Okay, so what inspired me? I could literally say it was like a moment where, because at first, like initially, I didn't think about writing a book. But then as I started going through a process, it's like, okay, the book, God brought to my thought, write a book. And then my pastor confirmed with me, like, write your book. So I'm like, okay, God, like, I hear you. It's not up until the second time when somebody confirms it. You're like, okay, now, I have to write this book. You feel me? So that's where it all came about.
Okay. I don't want to give people too much of what this book is about because I want them to go and read this book. But I would also like to say I haven't read a book in a very long time, right? So when I thought about you being on the podcast, I knew I had to read the book. There was no ands, ifs, or buts about going around that I had to read the book, right? So, and it's not to say like I can't read. Yeah. My mind works a lot and I get very distracted while reading. And it was something about when I was reading this that I wanted to know more. Like, okay, I've always heard about Tata, right? And I was like, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Okay.
I know. It's like a lot of things I share in a book, like even family members. Like from reading a book, that's when they're actually going to know that happened.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, do I want to put this? Do I not? But then it was like, man, just lay it out there. Give them a little bit, but not too much. But just a little bit so there will be a part two. You know what I'm saying?
Also, definitely part two.
It's gonna be a part two. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just excited just to wait for part two. So when did you actually launch your book?
Last year in December. I launched it in December. Like I did a big book signing. It was a lot of people there. It was. Of course, it wasn't just me by myself. I like collaborated with a few people, and it was like a fashion show / book release. So that was dope.
Were you ever nervous?
Heck yeah, cause I'm not used to being up front, up street. Like that's not me. Like I would rather be in the background. Like not really. So when God was telling me write a book, share this moment, it was like really God, like. I really gotta let people know. But then again, it was like, you know what? Whatever I could do to help somebody else come out of that dark place, it was like, you know what? Let me just do it. I'm all for it.
And definitely, in reading this, it allowed me to reflect on my life and my hardships and things that I've had to encounter. And it's things that I thought that I put like way in the back. It started to like come to the front, and I don't think I'm gonna write a book, but it really made me more conscious about different things that I experienced growing up as a child, as a young adult, and as an adult, because your book went from your childhood to what happened, the main topic of it, to when you went to New York, back to the burn, and then to high school, and then back to the burn. And I was like, it was just like, but it was like, I won't say all over the place, but it really gave me a sense of like okay, it showed the different sides of Tata at the different moments.
And that's what I wanted to share with people. I wanted to open up the book, letting you know, like, okay, this is what happened, the actual event of the day my accident happened. I wanted to share that with people. But then I wanted to stop and take you back into showing you how I grew up, my childhood up into high school and stuff like that. Just so the person that's reading the book, so that way get to know me through the book a little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I'm growing up with her. Like, I'm seeing,
Mm-hmm.
her grow up, kind of, and then it takes you back to,
Yeah.
Leaving from the event.
Yeah.
That happened. So, yeah.
And that definitely, what allowed me to see, because I know a little bit of your story, and it was like I said, you always knew of Tata, like it's like certain information about you was like, it was just there, and knowing that information, I can only imagine like what you were going through, but reading the book, it was like, seeing like, you gave the one scenario where the first time you went to go get your hair done, and then understanding that you came from like always having that to now you having to be very like, that's a very sensitive moment, sitting there in front of everybody, getting your hair done and stuff like that. So now, are you like, do you still have moments where, being that you were a burn survivor, like, does that still impact your life, or like, how are you with handling that?
Much better, way better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like completely over. Like, oh my god, like I have scars. Oh my god, like it bothers me because it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I learned how to take how I was before. Like, this was me before.
Mm-hmm.
Get beat, get dressed. That was me. So God brought me to the point where I was like, so what? I got scars.
Mm-hmm.
I'ma still get dressed and be beat and
Mm-hmm.
still look good with my scars. Like, period. You feel me?
I following on your page. I be like, all right, I see you.
Yeah, like, so that's something I wanna share with people. Like, man, you can still do whatever you set out to do, regardless of what you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't let what you've been through stop you from being who you're supposed to be.
And even with that, I think a lot of people struggle with, being themselves, and without even the scars, without and it's like everyone is trying to be this person. They're trying to be accepted, and reading this and even seeing you, going through your situation is like, you really kind of was like forced. It's like either you're gonna deal with it or don't deal with it, and then the best thing to do is to own your situation and just move forward and stuff like that. So
yeah, pretty much it's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Okay, yeah, it happened. Yeah, it was tragic, but what are you gonna do with that situation? It's like you're taking a negative and turning it into a positive.
Yeah.
Like, instead of staying in a negative. So that's why you see like the concept of me in a black and me in a white of the cover of the book.
Yes.
It was basically, I wanted to show people like it was me versus me. Basically, the black is when I was in a dark place, and the white represents like I'm no longer in that dark place.
Yeah.
But of course, I was in that dark place at one point in time, where I had to get to the point where I'm like, let me come out of this dark place. But mind you, it wasn't easy coming out the dark place. It's a process, but I'm out that dark place.
Yeah, I mean, cause like, I was speaking to my roommate actually earlier today, and we were talking about like I was talking about my flaws and how I'm learning to accept that, and we over here like people thinking like, okay, this is a problem. Like when I was younger, my nose was too big for me, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a big nose, like just sitting in my face, and and then it's like now I find beauty in my nose. You know what I'm saying? And being, we take a lot of things for granted.
We do.
So it's just very, very, like, I don't know, I'm lost for words just thinking about how you can inspire people.
I always tell people, like, I go to these meetings every month. Initially, I wasn't going to them because I felt like, because at the time, after my accident coming out that hospital, of course, they give you, like, counseling and everything. And at that time, they only had, like, a one counselor, and you sit there and you have, like, a one-on-one with her. And I felt like, why am I coming to these sessions? Because this lady can't relate to what I'm going through, what I feel, because you didn't actually go through it. So how can you tell me how to come over, overcome how I'm feeling, or me wanting the thoughts of suicide? How can you help me when you never actually experienced it? So I just stopped going altogether. And it's not up until like, after coming out of that dark place, I was like, you know what? Let me go back and see if they still having these meetings, and come to find out they have like not one-on-one sessions, they have big group meetings where you meet other survivors, and you sitting in these meetings like, yo, I have no business to complain, because you're watching people that has half a face, like people that's missing limbs, and here you are, yeah, you've been through something, but your situation is not even that bad, and you're hearing them speak on faith or how they keep continuing living, but then it's like, how can I complain?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've been through this, but how can I really complain when there's somebody that didn't make it to see the next day?
Yes.
You feel me? Like, it'll be times in a meeting, like, because you can have visitors come in a meeting and sit in and so forth, like family members like that has family that's in ICU fighting in a coma for their lives, and then the next month you'll come back to a meeting, they didn't make it. So you sitting there like, yo, wow, like, it kind of does something to you, because it's like, I'm here. Like, why be bitter about the situation? Some people didn't get to see today, but I'm here, and I'm going to be bitter about the situation. I'm going to be angry about the situation. Why? If I'm still here, I still have a chance. Like, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I encourage people, like, come to these meetings. Come to these meetings, because why? It's gonna make you appreciate life even much more. You're gonna experience things that outside of your comfort zone that you never experienced. So, yeah.
Okay. So I kind of want to go into the moment where the incident happened.
Okay.
So I want to know what was in your mind. Like, I know I read it, but what were you thinking? Like, I cannot imagine being there.
What was I thinking? Okay. Wow. It happened so quick. And my thoughts literally was, oh my God, I'm about to die. Like, literally, those were the words that kept playing in my mind as I'm brushing this fire off, trying to figure out how I'm going to get this fire off. But at the same time, my thoughts just like, oh my God, I'm about to die. Oh my God, I'm about to die. God, I'm about to die. I'm about to die. And saying these in my mind. And then when you go back and look at it, I'm like, oh my God, like, if I had died at that split second, do you understand? Those were going to literally be my last thoughts.
Yeah.
Were, oh my God, I'm about to die. So imagine the people that didn't make it. What were their last thoughts?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, yeah.
That is, like, so you said that in the book you had your family member there, and you felt like they weren't really, like, helping, like, making sense of the situation, and your daughter was there.
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken to her about it after?
Let me see. I'm trying to think. Have I ever, like, sat there and had a one-on-one? Not that I can remember, like, at the moment right now. But, like, I did plan on doing a documentary. So now it's like, okay, now I'm really going to get to see what was her thoughts, because she was younger when that happened. So, Justine has pretty much been there step by step by step. So I don't ever think I actually sat there and asked her, like, how do you feel, or how did you feel through the whole process of watching me go through that, or, what was your thoughts, or I don't think I ever did that.
And how old was she again?
She was 3.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's 18 now?
Just turned 18, yeah.
So, but even in the book, you mentioned surviving and pushing through for your daughter a lot.
Yeah.
And, being that she's often, like, this, you took her to the campus where she's going to stay, or she already started classes?
No, she didn't start. She's not leaving yet.
Okay.
She's going to do 2 years down here and then, transfer to university, so, yeah.
But it's like, when you see those moments of her success, and it's like you really push through for her, and then you can see in her how much you impact, and like, she's a beautiful young lady. She's very smart, and
yeah, she is.
and she's like you said, she's at the point she's going to college.
Yeah.
And so like I just pray and wish that she continues on that path.
I think that like really like built her to be the person she is today. Just having to watch me go through that, and her having to actually be there. When I say she was there, of course she was the first. So she was there step by step from the time it happened till now. So it's like that kind of built her to be a strong person to the point where this girl is so smart, like never had to help her with her homework, literally. So and she's been very helpful towards me.
So you can say like hand in hand, you guys both helped each other.
Yeah.
Get to where you're at right now.
Because in the beginning, it was more so like, okay, I gotta fight to get home to her. And then it's like, okay, I gotta get home to her, I gotta get home to her. And that was the only reason I wanted to live, to be honest with you. Because I'm like, okay, I didn't have nothing else to live for. I just felt like, okay, like, I have these scars, like, I'm so, I don't know, my mind was just basically really in a dark place where I didn't even want to live. Thoughts of suicide, like, okay, like literally I have to face society. I have to literally leave the hospital, face society with scars I never had before.
Yeah.
Like literally, I don't even look the same. This is my thoughts. I don't even look the same. Like what the heck? Even to the point where when they discharged me, when I found out they was about to discharge me a couple of days, I'm like, how are they gonna discharge me? I'm not done healing. Like these doctors are, they don't know what the heck they talking about because how y'all gonna send me home? I'm barely walking. I just learned, mind you, I lost memory of how to walk. So now I went through physical therapy to try to learn how to walk, and I'm just learning how to walk. Barely. So it's like, how y'all sending me home?
Yeah.
So now when it was time for me to leave the hospital, I cried. I'm like, I don't want to leave. Like, I literally have to face society and what the people was gonna say. Like, I don't want to go through that. Like, no, I want to stay in the hospital till I heal. Like, just be shut in. Like, but of course, I had no choice.
But to go home.
Yeah, I had to leave.
You did mention in the book that you were like pajamas
Yeah.
all day, every day. You didn't want to leave the house.
I didn't care because it's like, what's the point? What am I getting dressed up for? Like, okay, I got these scars. Where I'm going? Like, where I'm going?
And then, so walk us through basically the moment where because you did say in the book that it took some time for your skin pigments to come back.
Yeah.
So, at what point were you at a like, I'm healed, like I'm just gonna go through life?
I can't really say at one point because it's like it was a process.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a day-to-day thing. It's not like one day I just woke up and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, be me or, do what I have to do. No, it was a process. It was a process. It was like God was dealing with me throughout that process. I started going to church more. My relationship with God started, I really started having a relationship with God. And as I started having a relationship with God, it started changing me. It started changing me. It started changing me. Like, and then it's like, yo, like, I'm more than just these scars. Like, so what? Like, so it was a process day to day, day to day, day to day. Even with stupid comments somebody will say or the stares or it still was like, okay. Then I started learning, like, not to let, like, little stupid comments bother me. Or, just, okay.
You dealt with that a lot?
I dealt with that a
like
lot.
Like in your face?
In my face. Like, literally. Like, dumb comments. I used to say, if I had $1, every time somebody says something so stupid, like I had friends, like, you know how some people, they'll say stuff and not even realize they said something hurtful? But it is like, I don't know, girl, like, I don't know, if that was me, I would have been killed myself. How do you do it with scars? Like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, hello, like, are you, like, literally, like, okay, you know what? Ignore it. It used to be like, just ignore it. But at the same time, you're still here. Like, what do you mean? Scars don't define you. Like, so.
I mean, what people really don't realize sometimes, I mean, like, things that they say, things that they do, I try to be as conscious as possible, but it's just like, I mean, especially with little kids, they can't help it.
Yeah,
but kids. As an adults, we have, the mindset to choose our actions and stuff like that. And then to even have like your friends in your face, and it's like,
yeah, yeah.
did you lose a lot of friends?
Actually, no. To be honest with you, I did. Like I've always been a person where family was really my friends.
Yeah.
And then if I did have like friends outside of family, I could count on one hand how many friends I had. So actually, I didn't lose friends at all. Like
How
I
was
didn't.
how was it when you said in the book that your mom she was out of town
Yeah.
and she broke down
I.
and
Yeah.
she
She
was
did.
like, and then being that you guys didn't have such a good relationship, um, how's the relationship now? And do she ever like? Do you guys speak about the moments, or do you think that maybe she could have, that would have really helped a lot of healing process if she was there? You think it would have made it worse or better?
Um. Actually, I'm not sure to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I was surprised to see
Her
the way she
reaction.
reacted. Like when she actually first came back from Haiti and seen or whatever. But from this day, like me and her never really spoke about like what happened, how she felt. You know how Haitians are like,
Yeah.
they like to suppress things and they don't like to just throw it under the rug. Even if I felt some type of way, I'm not gonna let you know or whatever. I'm not even gonna speak about it. Let's just leave it like that and just move forward.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the thing about being Haitian, the Haitians are not really good with expressing.
Nope, they're not.
Especially no, I won't say that. They're not really good with expressing like happiness, love.
No.
If it's anger, frustration,
They're good
without
at
a
that.
doubt,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
They'll let you know. That's like easy to let you know you failed. But to say like I love you and to give you those hugs and those kisses, and that's something that like I think that Haitians as a whole, they just struggle with that. Because even speaking with my sisters, I think my mom really do love us, and my mom says I love you more as to us as an adult than she did as a child. But I also had to think about the situations that like my mom went through. My father passed away.
Yeah.
She had to raise three girls on her own. She then, um, my uncle who stepped up to be like the father figure. A couple of years later, passed away, and then 2 weeks later, her sister passed away.
Yeah.
So she never had the opportunity to really deal with a lot of her situations, and I think that's and because they don't deal with their situations, love and happiness and joy that doesn't come off like as much. So I
because
think
they've been through a lot.
yeah, and especially like being from Haiti, I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like the culture itself. There's a lot of ups and downs about being Haitian, and it's hard, and I think that because of that culture, um, but reading that in the book, that made me I could relate to some pieces, at moments where I didn't feel like my mom loved me as much as she did. But then when I would look at the sacrifices that my mom would make, and then especially now that we're older, that's why I asked you if you ever spoke to your mom, because I think speaking with my mom um, allowed a lot of healing for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even like what you speaking with Justine, like there could be an underlying issue, and we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that I deal with personally that I don't think another soul knows bother me. Like you said the comment about oh, I don't know how I would deal with the scars. I would have committed suicide. Like if you don't say that out loud, like hey, this bothers me, that person doesn't even know, like, hey, you just said something that offended me.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like just certain things you don't know, but certain things you are aware of. Like,
Yeah.
If you do say this, then hey, that may
Yeah.
offend that person in a certain type of way.
You have to
And
be conscious about how you move and the things you say and things you do and stuff. So now you do have other kids. You have two other kids, which are not mentioned in the book. But I do get that they're a lot younger.
Yeah.
And in that time frame of which you were discussing in the book, they weren't even in the picture.
Correct.
Um, but how was that going into dating and being in a relationship and
Um, I was already in a relationship from like the time of my accident, and the person never left. And
okay.
he was there. He was supportive. He was supportive.
He was supportive even when you doubted him. I read that.
Yeah, but then I don't share in
Yeah.
that's gonna be in another book. But it's like even though he was supportive, like I still dealt with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I was like, I would find out things and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just deal with it because of my scars or my insecurities. So I dealt with a lot of things that he was bringing to me, like as far as me finding out him cheating more than one time, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna still stay with him because he was here after my accident and he's still here, and like stuff like that. So I dealt with a lot of that, and just okay, because I didn't think I was good enough for anybody else. Well, let me just settle what I got.
What you already have, yeah.
So
like he already knows, you don't have to explain anything.
Exactly,
it's safer.
That was like a safe zone or whatever. Like I don't want to leave this relationship because hey, who's to say somebody else gonna want me?
Yeah.
With these scars or whatever, and that's why I stayed.
I know before we started actually, there's anything off limit, like, so was he open, like
yeah, I kind of know where he's going with it, kind of.
I didn't even say anything.
I'm already like, when it came to our relationship, it was like, behind closed doors, it was like, okay, like affectionate, but as soon as we were outside, it was different.
Yeah.
Like, you could see he was uncomfortable and stuff like that, and it was days like that. Like, for example, like we would go to the movies, and he'll like walk way ahead of me, and like I'm way in the back.
Yeah.
And that started getting like, okay, like, so like you're okay when we're indoors, but as soon as we're out in the public, you had an issue. You won't literally say it, but your actions shows. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, I know, like, dealing with that is like, it's like being in a relationship is just hard within itself, and then having to have scars and stuff like that. So it was just
yeah. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah,
it was.
We're both having like this little silent moment, like I'm thinking about my relationship. Like, yeah, I know, I felt that before.
Yeah.
But so you guys are not together?
No, we're not.
Okay, and then you haven't like met anyone, or right now you're just focusing on yourself?
Like I met someone total opposite, like so different, but this is somebody I knew from high school.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and I met him totally different and so forth. We were engaged, but things happen. We're not engaged anymore. So right now I'm waiting for Boaz. Where you at, Boaz? I'm waiting for you.
Right. Well, I pray, like, just pray on that, because it's finding someone, like, I do believe everyone has scars, regardless if they're visible or not.
And that's the thing, like, people think, like, for some people that's not really looking into the concept. I'm not my scars. It's not because of my scars that you can see on the outside. It's for people that have scars, period. Because we all have scars, things that we went through growing up, childhood. We have scars internally.
Yeah.
So my scars is for everyone, not somebody that's just been through an accident. No.
Yeah.
We all go through things on a day-to-day basis, and it's like, I'm not my scar, regardless of what you've been through. You're not your scars.
Yeah, and that's why I can definitely, in reading it, it's like when you're speaking about family, when you're speaking about situations, when you're speaking about not feeling like wanted, and then your family sent you to New York, and then it was like coming back home, like you really Like it's a lot of things that you. I mean, my mom never sent me anywhere, but it's a lot of things that you said in the book, and I'm like, did she just take my story? You know, it was just. It's a lot of things that I could relate to, and it captured me. And then the thing about it is the way you wrote the story, it allowed me to visualize those moments in the book. So it's like I think it's definitely like a must read. And one of the things that I actually love, this is my favorite part about the book, is the ending of the book.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I felt as if the last couple of pages, um, I personally have not wrote anything in it, but I thought it made me think. Like when I got to the very end, I was like, okay, next page. Oh, you know, it says, if there's anything you will want to share with God, what would it be? Right? And then it gives you space to write. It gives you, you know, some other stuff. What are some of the things that you would want God to do in your life? And it really makes you, at least after reading that, you know, you're in a different mindset. Mm-hmm. And because you're in a different mindset, you may, you know, you're feeling different, so you may want different things. Mm-hmm. And that may be true to what you really want in life, instead of like, I want healing in this, I want healing in that, thinking that you need materialistic stuff. Because this book, at least for me, it allowed me to analyze my life, you know, and my goals, my wants, my scars, and definitely like the healing process, and that I think everyone, if reading it, would. I mean, I think everyone would probably get different feelings, but it was a healing process for me.
Mind you, what writing it was a healing process for me too. Because even with writing different chapters, I have moments where I'm crying while writing different chapters. Mm-hmm. I have laughing moments. I have sad moments. Mm-hmm. I have angry moments. Mm-hmm. So in that, like, not even, like, that was a healing process for me as well, because it's like, okay, now I'm actually releasing these things that was still inside that I didn't really know that was still there. But with them writing it, I was able to release it.
You know, I had this notebook that I got rid of, right? So it was like kind of like a journal / diary, and like I would write to myself. I would write as if like I guess in the third person. And it's like, dear Donnie, you know, this is what I felt when this happened and stuff, and that allowed me to really, you know, let some stuff out. But then I can honestly say, in writing, I was very reserved, because I'm not an emotional person, like where I'm gonna cry and stuff like that. I get frustrated, and I don't deal well with frustration and anger. And then it's like those moments you're asking, like, why God, why did I have to go through this? And you know, it really, like in the book, like even going back to when I mentioned earlier, my father passing away, and having those, you know, I never had those father-daughter moments, because my father passed away when I was 5, you know, and then it's like thinking, like, you know, in the future, like my kids won't have a grandfather, you know, and those are like moments that I can express openly. But then there's those frustrations of, do I have relationship issues because of my father passing away? You know what I'm saying? And then where I'm more reserved to those emotions and those feelings, like, because I don't want to say I have daddy issues. I don't want to say, oh, this makes me upset. I don't want to say I got offended when this happened. You know, like I've had insecure moments. I had insecure moments where, you know, when I was going to puberty before my sisters, they were like sticks, and I was the middle child, growing breasts and stuff, and I was like, that made me feel very insecure, like, and no one around me could relate to that. But those are still kind of like moments where I don't open up as much. And it's like, but I do realize that awkward moment of developing from a little girl into a woman, it impacted my life a lot more than I let people know. I never wanted to wear 2-piece. Like my sister's like, take off this, and I'm like, no, I got boobies, you know,
Yeah.
and they didn't have boobies, right? So like my butt growing in and they looking like stick figures and stuff, and I'm like, that was awkward for me being around guys and stuff like that. And those are all things that I felt like all those feelings when I was reading this book kind of like was like rushing and flushing out. And then it was like, okay, I have to not really keep them a secret. I don't like I said, I'm not gonna write a book or anything, but maybe I need to be more open about it, to be more conscious about like,
or even if you don't want to open up to people, that's why in the book I do that towards the end, because some people, we be forgetting, like, it's good to write down how you felt that day. You were angry, you don't want to, you know, sure, let me go in my notebook and write it down. This is how I felt, and this, that, and the other. And you know, even with your goals, write your goals, write it down. Go back to it and be like, yeah, I accomplished this, I accomplished that, I accomplished this. A lot of us, we don't do that. Like writing your goals, writing this, writing that. It's always to write them down and put them into plan, write in and execute them.
Yeah, because when you have that, like that visual confirmation, it's like, this is where I was 6 months ago. And then you can actually, you know, see the growth, the change, you know, if you said, you know, like how you felt was different and stuff like that. So when I seen that, I was like, I haven't read a book, me personally, that gave this option in the back, you know, as let me take my own notes of my life, you know, and I can really appreciate reading a book that allows you to really consider yourself, because it's not just you telling your story, you're also allowing other people to tell their stories. So I think that's very helpful in knowing your story, is that you're making it bigger than yourself. You know, you're not like, oh, well, I'm Tata, I have these scars, it's all about me. You know, and I don't think the book at all like showcases that it's not about you, it's bigger. Yes, you went through it, you had to go through it to help other people.
Exactly. And how many other people are going through that. So
but I mean, you look good.
Thanks.
You know, I think
let me tell you, people be like, yo, I think you more conceited now than before your accident. I'm like, really, like, seriously? Like, but yeah, people
I mean,
tell me
probably
that.
because you're older too, so
Probably,
you know,
I don't know.
you probably just carry yourself a little different, more mature with it.
Yeah, but a lot of people be like, but I do, like, don't get me wrong, like, I do get different people approach me, but it's like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm wait for boys. You feel me? Like, I'm done with going through that, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm good. Like,
have your sons ever asked you what happened?
No, and that's the thing. They never did.
So
they're so like they're used to it. They don't even see the scars.
Yeah.
They don't. They don't even see the scars.
I mean, that's. I guess that's good. Did they read, or did you tell them about the book? And
well, my oldest, the 5-year-old, of course, doesn't really, you know.
Yeah.
But the oldest one, like, he knows I wrote a book and stuff like that. But you know,
I'm just so because like I would say this, right? So our paths actually crossed a couple of times, right? But I don't think we've ever had like a face-to-face conversation.
No.
Like we were at Daphne house for her birthday, and you know we were doing the whole prayer thing, and you know I seen you at the church. It's called Divine Hope. Yeah. But it was like, okay, you know, and I was always curious, like, you know, like you said, you hear the story, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I've always wanted to know more, right? Not to be like nosy or anything like that. I'm just,
I'm open to like people being curious or asking questions. Like, I have no problem with that.
So basically, coming up, you have a documentary.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for that yet?
I'm
not my Scott. Okay. Documentary. We have a part 2 to the book.
Yes, we do.
So I'm sitting next to a celebrity, right?
In the making,
right? So I'm really happy to, you know, like you even accomplished this book. about, connecting and empowering. And I definitely feel like, honestly, when the book first came out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab it, but it just never came to me to grab.
Yeah.
And then I won't say I regret not grabbing the book when I did, because if I did, I probably wouldn't have asked you to come on the show. But
everything happens like in its timing.
Yeah.
Everything happens in its time, and I believe that. I strongly believe that, or whatever. But what I would say to people is, like, looking back years ago, who's ever thought I would write a book?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like, whatever you set out to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're doing Purging Thoughts. Like, who would ever thought, you would do a podcast?
And you said earlier that, when you wrote, before you started writing your book, God spoke to you to write the book.
Yeah.
And you needed to hear the confirmation. And it's really like that inner, thought process.
Because even when I heard it, I'm like, you heard a book? Like, I never wrote a book before. What am I going to write?
Where do I start?
Like, and then when my pastor said, I'm like, book, really? Like, okay. Like, I literally had to sit down and be like, okay. Because remember, it's a lot of, when you go through something, sometimes you suppress a lot of things that you go, especially when it's bad.
Yeah.
You suppress it so you don't even remember because it's weighing it back. So I had to literally sit there on days and like, okay, God, you have to help me write this because I don't know what I'm putting. Take me back. I had to pray and tell God, take me back into those moments so that I can remember, so I can write this down. So I'm not just writing things. So basically, while writing it, I'm reliving it. So that's why I was having all those different emotions. Very emotional. Like, I would literally drop the kids to school, come back home, because I do hair. Don't go to the hair salon. Stay home from 8 in the morning till it's time to pick up the kids, writing. And then by the time it's time for me to pick up the kids, my eyes puffy and red because I'm crying. Like, I'm crying from in the morning till it's time to pick up the kids. So it's like, yeah.
I mean, I can imagine that being a roller coaster because we're talking about scars, purging thoughts. Like, I sat here and one day and I was like, God, you told me to do this. And I'm like, and I'm literally crying. And like I tell you, I don't cry, right? So like, but it's not like boo-hoo crying. Like, I'm so frustrated. Everything is like going left. And I'm like, oh my gosh, God, this is what you told me to do. And I'm doing it and it's not working. And so I was like, feel all my emotions, but then I was like, yes, but you have to understand, like, things have to be done in a certain order. I had to, like, I
also learned too, like, not to cut you off, like, what comes easy don't last.
Yeah.
It's what you put your hard work, your sweat in. When I tell you, when it was time for me to put this book together, it was like 1, 2, 3. Like, I went through stuff where, I was paying people and there was an editing it, right? I was doing stuff trying to find somebody to get the book cover right for me. So I went through stuff before I actually got it together. So mind you, the editing, Justine did the editing. Mind you, I paid somebody that's what they do, editing, and they didn't even do it good. Well, I had an editor sitting right in front of me
the whole time.
The whole time. She literally took 3 days and edited the whole book. Literally. And I'm like, okay, sis, I had you here all this time. And I went and paid somebody else. But yeah, it was frustrating. Even to the point where I started getting like frustrated with her, like, because the book signing was coming up. And mind you, I had to hurry up, send the right copies back off to Amazon, redo this, redo that. So like, I'm putting pressure on her, like, yo, I have a deadline, I have a book signing, girl, you still not done editing? And she got it done on time. And the books was able to, it was everything like basically right on time. So
yeah, so definitely. That's why I said when I was reading this, I was like in a place where I was able to relate because, like, we all have our own different scars. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely am going to recommend this book. If you haven't gotten it, you need to go get it. I will list how to get this book. It is worth reading. Is there anything else we should know?
Not that I could think of right now. Not that I could think of right now.
Listen, like, I don't know. I'm just happy you're here. Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm just happy. Like, this whole thing, I feel like I'm sitting next to a celebrity. Like, you know how, like, it's like, you know Michael B. Jordan, right?
And then you gotta get my autograph before I actually, like...
Listen, I need a pen. Excuse me. You need to give me a pen, right? Listen, my book is not signed, and I need my book signed, all right?
Sign it for her personally. On camera, we're gonna sign it today.
Excuse me, I got some on my background. Can you check my purse, please? Cause she said on camera. Oh no, my purse is a mess. Ooh, we got a pen. And is blue my favorite color? Here you go. We signed it. Wait, we sign it. Oh my God.
You're too funny.
Y'all see this signature? Alright, so definitely I'm gonna let you guys know where to get the book. Get the book, give me some feedback, give her some feedback, follow. I'll put all her contact information, and let me know if you agree with me on this book, if it inspired you or anything like that. I want to know. Until next time, tell us what's on your mind.